Good morning, everyone, and welcome. My name is Dr. Mandy Toller, and I'm proud to say I recently graduated from the OSU College of Veterinary Medicine. I'm originally from Coweta, Oklahoma, and like many students, I didn't grow up in agriculture. Everything changed when I joined FFA in high school, where I began showing pigs and saw firsthand the impact a dedicated veterinarian could make. This spark led me to OSU as a first-generation college student where Stillwater quickly became home. I've spent the past several years learning from some of the very best mentors and professors who not only shared their knowledge of production medicine, but also believed in me every step of the way. I now live in Altus, Oklahoma with my husband and practice as a mixed animal veterinarian with a focus in cattle and reproductive technologies. Today, we're celebrating something incredible, a historic investment in the future of veterinary medicine at OSU and in the state of Oklahoma. I can tell from experience this new hospital isn't just a building. It's a promise to future students, rural communities, and livestock industry that OSU is leading the way. Thank you for being here to celebrate with us today. It's my honor to introduce a leader who believes deeply in the power of education to transform lives because he's lived it. From his roots in Henrietta, Oklahoma, to the presidency of our university, Dr. Jim Hess has always put students first. His bold vision for veterinary medicine has helped make this historic event possible. Please welcome the 20th president of Oklahoma State University, Dr. Jim Hess.
Hey, Pete, don't walk off yet. Because I always like to take liberties, and my regents don't mind, do you? O-S-U, Cowboys. One more. O-S-U, Cowboys. Thank you, Pete. Well, thank you so much for being here today to celebrate what I believe to be one of the most historic moments in the past, present, and future of this university. I would be remiss, it's always a good idea if you're a president, the first thing you always do is acknowledge your bosses. And so I would be remiss if I did not do so. I'm going to introduce a lot of people for a few minutes, if you don't mind, because there are so many people in this room who contributed so much to make this historic moment possible. I'd like to start off by introducing my bosses, your regents, Mr. Jimmy Harrel, Blayne Arthur, and Mr. Tracy Poole. Now, many of you know that we started this journey with an entity called the OSU Veterinary Medicine Authority. And it's a public trust that was set up to receive funding for efforts like this for the College of Veterinary Medicine. And we have a couple of members of our authority in the audience today, and I certainly would love to recognize them. You've already met Regent Arthur. She's the chair of our authority. And we also have Mr. Troy Shelby. Troy, where are you? I know you're here. There you are. Dr. Richard Prather. There he is in the back. And I'm pretty sure I saw my friend L.D. Barker here somewhere. Where's L.D.? There he is. And thank you so much for your service, because your contribution to this effort was absolutely nothing short of phenomenal. I'd also like to introduce a couple of people who really helped me a lot during the session. I find them to be some of the most gracious, kind-hearted, pragmatic, and futuristic people that you will ever meet. So I'd like to start off by introducing the Speaker of the House, Mr. Kyle Hilbert. Speaker Hilbert is a former SGA president of this fine institution. He couldn't stay out of politics. He just had to keep going. Senator Chuck Hall, chair of the Senate Appropriations Committee. Representative Trey Caldwell, chair of the House Appropriations Committee. Representative Tony Hessenbeck. Tony, thank you for all your help. Senator Jerry Alford. Senator Todd Gallagher. Senator Darcy Yeck. Senator Grant Green. Representative John Pfeiffer. Representative Carl Newton. And Representative John Kane. Now, this is always risky. Is there any member of the Senate and the House that I failed to introduce? Woo-wee. I want to thank each and every one of you for the contributions that you made. Each one of you were kind enough to listen to my story starting about a year ago, talking about the opportunity that faced us, the challenges that were ahead, and the funding that would be needed to put our College of Veterinary Medicine back to the status that it so richly deserves. So I thank you so much for your willingness to help us. It has been made all the difference in the world. You know, one of the things that I always like to start off in telling people is that my journey here to this place began a long time ago in the College of Veterinary Medicine. I know so many of you have heard this story before, but I cannot help but believe that God put me in a place to begin my journey to bring me to this very moment today. I started off as a work-study student in the College of Veterinary Medicine shoveling stalls. And it turned out that it was a great preparation for being an administrator. Who knew that that was possible? But today's more than just a celebration. It's a milestone moment for Oklahoma State, for university, and for our state and our region as a whole. We're here because of a shared vision, because of all of you all here. You rose to the occasion, and you identified a need, and you supported each and every one of our efforts along the way. We have a number of veterinarians in this audience who I had many great opportunities to visit with over the last year. So I would love for all of the veterinarians in this room to please stand. I was having a conversation with Senator Yeck a few minutes ago, and he reminded me of the look on his face when I first talked to him about the number that would be needed to build this world-class facility. And he did not kick me out of his office. He did have an open mouth when his mouth dropped a little bit when I told him where we needed to be. But I want to also acknowledge all of the OSU members of this family, many of whom work on this campus, many of whom work on a different campus, but all of you played an important part in bringing this moment to fruition. So please join me in thanking all of the OSU employees who led this great effort with us. This investment in our future will change lives, it'll protect our food supply, and it'll secure our state's future. I know so many of you here know how important the agricultural economy of our state is. We often forget, and I want to remind the rest of the world, everybody in this room knows this, that pork, beef, chicken is not made in the back of a Walmart store. It happens in our agricultural producing economy. And there are so many, many, many opportunities for us to strengthen our agricultural economy. And as a land-grant university, it is our responsibility and our duty to always keep forefront in our mind that agriculture, veterinary medicine are pillars of our land-grant mission. And I want to thank each and every one of you for believing in that land-grant mission. You know, the leadership of our institution is absolutely pivotal as we begin to embark upon the construction of a not just $250 million. The legislature was kind enough 2 years ago to allocate about $79 million for the start of this historic effort. So we will do groundbreaking very soon on a $329 million facility. My goal, I love all higher education institutions, of course, but my goal is to put Texas A&M to shame, and I know that you all share it. Interim Dean Ritchie and Dr. Black, Dr. Rudd, and others in the room from the College of Veterinary Medicine, we appreciate the work you do every single day for our students and to keep the College of Veterinary Medicine on the track in which it is going. Thank you so much, Dr. Ritchie and members of the College of Veterinary Medicine leadership team. So this is a day we had long envisioned, but now it's also time to go to work. We have a facility that will be historic. It'll be a gateway to this institution. We're not quite ready to announce the location of that facility, but I promise you it will be in a prominent place. There will be a gateway to this historic and beloved university. It's time for the OSU College of Veterinary Medicine to be the #1 College of Veterinary Medicine in the United States. This facility will allow us to compete for the brightest students, the very best faculty members and clinicians. It will bring referral patterns to our College of Veterinary Medicine teaching hospital, and it will strengthen our ability to provide a backbone and fundamental pillar to our agricultural economy. It's more than bricks and mortar. Yes, it'll be beautiful, but what happens inside that facility is what will make the difference. All of us have had the opportunity to encounter a great veterinarian. It doesn't matter if you're a producer or your companion pet who needed treatment. All of us, sooner or later, encounter a great veterinarian. And guess what? The very best ones are produced right here at OSU. This is a bold commitment for the next generation of veterinarians. Veterinary medicine is different today than it was 20 years ago or 50 years ago. But here what has not changed. What has not changed is that people rely heavily on veterinarians. And our food supply, our public safety of our food supply, our economy, and your enrichment of your lives is dependent upon our ability to produce the very best veterinarians that we can possibly produce. But it also gives us an opportunity to send a message to the state of Oklahoma that we are ready to lead. We will no longer be ranked at the bottom of the College of Veterinary Medicine in the United States. Regent Harrel reminds me often that if we want to be number one in something, that we have to have the very, very best inside that facility. And I can promise you this, we will have the very best. We will train the very best. And we will perform treatment the very best that has ever been done before. The land grant mission is a hallmark of what I do and all these people who are staff members in the room, of what we do and focus on every single day. And what does it really mean to us to be a land grant university? Well, it's not just agriculture, it's not just veterinary medicine, it's not just engineering, it's not just business. It is a spirit. The land grant mission is a spirit, and it is contagious, and all of you all have been infected. I am so proud to be serving in this position on your behalf, and I guarantee you this, that before we're done, the College of Veterinary Medicine, the College of Agriculture, the College of Engineering will be the very best in the United States. It is my number one priority. So it's time for us to lead. It's time for us to build. It's time for us to go all in together to support this historic effort. The future of veterinary medicine starts right here, today, and for every day thereafter, and I greatly appreciate all of your support in making this happen. Now, I want to personally introduce the next two speakers on your agenda. When planning for today, I spoke with the chair of the OSU Board of Regents, Mr. Rick Walker, and he felt that our past chair, Mr. Jimmy Harrel, would be the best person suited to speak to you today, and I could not agree more. Regent Harrel played a pivotal role in championing the vision for this historic moment. He was instrumental in building momentum and securing support. We were truly blessed by the time and energy he was willing to give to this effort. You know, tomorrow, it'll be exactly 1 year to the day that I made a trip to Weatherford to talk to Chairman Harrel about a vision for the College of Veterinary Medicine. And he greeted me graciously and asked me a lot of questions about what was truly needed, where we needed to go, and how could we be number one. He said, I don't want to be number 10, because if we're at 10, we'll soon be at 20. I want to be number one. What does it take, Jim, to take us to the top? And I told him what our vision was, and he was gracious and willing to shoulder the burden of carrying that effort. So, Regent Harrel, thank you for your leadership, for your labor of love on behalf of our students in this great cause. Joining him right after Regent Harrel will be Secretary of Agriculture, Regent Blayne Arthur, and she's also the chair of the OSU Vet Med Authority. We've saddled her with lots of hats to wear. Regent Arthur is leading the charge to ensure that veterinary medicine continues to grow and advance to serve the great state of Oklahoma. Her leadership of the OSU Veterinary Medicine Authority is absolutely pivotal to sustaining the momentum and ensuring that this new hospital reaches its very full potential. So without further ado, would you please join me in welcoming Regent Jimmy Harrel.
The president has a book up here of notes. I've got this. They told me I had 3 minutes to tell how I did this in 2 years. You know, I'm not a speaker. I'm a person that has a vision and gets things done. And I intended to get this done when I started it. We started it 2 years ago. There's some veterinarians right out there, some older veterinarians, about 6 of them that came into our office and told us needs. And I'll get back to that a little later, but I appreciate you guys. You're the reason this happened. But today brings back memories of me from many years ago. Bob Kerr had a vision to build a food and ag production building here at OSU. He was a senator. He was our senator. A great guy, great friend. Dwayne, my older brother, and he were great friends. And he had the vision to build this ag production, food and production building over here on the campus. We worked many years to get enough money to build that thing for Senator Kerr. And the morning that happened, my wife and I were coming over here from Leedy, which, if you know what, not many of you know where Leedy is, but it's out in western Oklahoma. And Camargo is about 11 miles north. My wife and I thought we'd have a leisurely drive over here and enjoy it, and we started a little early. We were about halfway to Camargo, 11 miles, and Governor Walters called me. He said, "Jimmy," I said, "Yeah." He said, "Are you going to the ag product dedication this morning?" I said, "I'm going to." Didn't tell him I was on my way. He said, "Well, would you come and get me and take me?" So right in the middle of the highway, I whip around and start back, and Marilyn says, "What's going on?" a little bit. And I said, "Well, the governor wants me to take him." She said, "Well, would you unload me at the house?" I said, "No, he'll be fine." Said, "No, he wants to talk to you about some things, and it'd be better if I'm not there." I argued with her a little bit, and finally I let her out at the house, and then I speeded up quite a bit because I had to go a different direction. Instead of 51, I had to go back to Oklahoma City and pick him up. I rushed back to Oklahoma City to pick the governor up, picked him up, drove him over here. We got to the ag production building, and where they had a bunch of barriers out there for parking and things, and he got out and moved the barriers for me, and he gets back in. I tell him, "Boy, they're going to be really looking forward to seeing who's powerful enough that the governor has to move the barriers for him." And we had quite a laugh about that, and we go in, and I had a place and seat here this morning. I was real glad I had one. I didn't know whether I would or not, but that particular day when they went, Governor and I visited a lot of people, and when they went to lining up to go in, they lined them all up and lined them up, and I said, "Governor," I stepped up there, I said, "when you get through, I'll be right," and I pointed back to the corner, "I'll be right back there." He said, "What do you mean you'll be back there?" I said, "Well, that's where I'll meet you." He said, "Aren't you on the platform party?" He knew I'd help get a lot of the money, and I said, No, I'm not on the platform party, but that's fine. I'll meet you there." And I started to walk off, and he said, "Stand there." I never had a governor tell me to stand there before, so I stood properly and minded. He called the people that lined us up back over there. He says, "I'm not going in without my security, and I want him sitting next to me." Here I am, going to be the governor's security. Back then, I was quite a bit trimmer, 20 or 30 years ago. I knew he ran every day. I thought, well, if we get in trouble, I still think I can outrun him. Maybe I can get away from it. But anyway, he made them line me up and go in for the program, and I sat there with him, much to the amazement of the rest of the regents that didn't have a seat, and to my amazement too. But I was going to do what he was the funniest guy. Most of these governors, you think they're solemn thing. Most of them are funny and smart. He is funny. He is smart. But anyway, we had a great day. And Bob Kerr was so proud, and I think that's the way we all are today. We're so proud for what we've accomplished and what all of us have accomplished. But we'll fast forward a little bit. Now, I'll tell you, these veterinarians come to our meeting about a year before I became chairman. and they told us what we needed and what we needed to do, and we didn't pay too much attention. But I did think, well, I'm going to go over there and see. I know those guys, and they're about my age. They wouldn't be here wasting their time if there wasn't a need. So I went over and took a look, and I decided to myself there's a need. But they convinced me privately that we had to get accredited and things, and we had about a year to get accredited. So I took it and listened and went on, waited. Thought, well, I'll wait till I'm chairman, and when I'm chairman, we'll start something different. So about the time I became chairman, we got on probation. And then I thought it was sure enough time to do something, and so we started working at it, and I went to looking, and I was going to have my first meeting and was going to have it over in Ag Hall, new Ag Hall. We was having our first board meeting that I was going to be chairman. So I called the governor and I said, Governor, if I've got to do this, you've got to come to my first meeting. So he agreed to do it. He came and I introduced him, and while I was introducing him, I told him how we was needing to build a vet, and I never said build a vet clinic. We needed to improve the vet school, and it was going to take quite a bit of money to improve this vet school. We needed to improve it, and going to take quite a bit of money. And he gets up and talks after I tell him about the vet school. He said, I think Jimmy's twisting my arm. So later on, I get up and I tell him, Governor, you're always talking about being number 10. We got to be number 1, because if we get to 10, we're going to be 20 in a hurry again, and we got to be number 1 when we finish this. And I said, and if you think I'm twisting your arm now, wait till a little later. And he finally was convinced I was planning to twist his arm some more if I needed to. But let's fast forward just a little bit. And the next time I was meeting with these people and things, I went to the Capitol for the Ag Day signing of the legislation of the governor. And he was signing Ag, and an interesting thing happened to me. Jason Ramsey decided to introduce me to Jim Hess. What an experience. I talked to him a little bit, and I thought, where has this guy been? This is the smartest guy I've run onto in this whole deal, and where's he been? I'd ask him questions and put problems to him, and there in a short time during that day, he had an answer for everything I asked. He didn't have to turn to somebody or go find it. He had the answer. And I thought, man, this is a good deal. And you know, he's so kind as he is lots of the time. He's so kind, he told me, he never told me in these words, this is my interpretation of it. Jimmy, you're going down the river without a paddle, and you're in the rowboat and you don't have a paddle. And he was about right. I knew what I needed. I knew we needed money. I didn't know what we needed exactly. He had the answer. He said, you know, we can't remodel that thing. It's served its time. It's not fair to try to get a faculty to do a job that they don't have the facilities to do it in. And in a little bit, he had convinced me that we had to build a new teaching hospital. So, you know, as inquisitive as I was, I said, what's this going to cost? He told me, and I gulped a couple of times because the governor had already told me I was twisting his arm, and he'd already kind of thought I was asking for quite a bit. But anyway, I listened, and I said, could we back it off a few dollars? It would just sound better, just a few dollars. He said, Jimmy, it's going to take most of it to build a teaching hospital. It's number 1, and that's what you want. I said, well, we can't. We've got to be back to number 1. I'll go back to just a minute and tell you, when we was number 1, of course you don't know how old I am, but I'm a couple of years older than some of you. But when we were number 1 at this university, when I was running horses with Jack Brooks, we bought the horses here when we had a salmonella problem in the barn to figure out what our problem was. we're not to that. We've lost our facility, so we're not quite where we can do that now. We're going to be there again and things, but we're not there. So I wanted to get back to number one, and Jim had the answers to try to do it. You know, meeting Hess was quite an interesting program. We've been on a long journey, and a lot of things have happened. You know, I talked Jason Ramsey in, which was a big lift. It was almost a bigger lift than getting you guys to give us the money. I talked Jason Ramsey in to let me stay here at OSU and have my first meetings here and have the speaker and the pro tem and the two appropriation chairmen here come in different days and get to speak, and then go look at our vet school and see if I was joking and if we were joking about the problems we had. And they all came, and I certainly appreciate you guys coming and helping us and listening and helping me with my meetings, because, you know, I need a little help now and then, and so I sure appreciated you guys coming covering for me. But not only that, they listened and they saw the need that we had. And they're the real reason that we got the money. There's other people I'd like to thank in the process. Number one is Gerald Callahan, and he was chairman ahead of me, and he tried to get me excited about being chairman, and I wasn't excited about it, didn't think I'd even do it, to be honest with you. I wasn't planning to even maybe be chairman, because it's a lot of work, and I've been chairman of a lot of things on a lot of different committees and things, and I thought maybe someone else needed to do it. But I decided when Gerald passed away, he'd tried hard to get me to listen and pay attention. He and I'd be down there in the dark of a morning. He'd be preparing a meeting. The Regents go to bed in the middle of the evening, so I was not used to going to bed till midnight, till 2 o'clock, and so I'd be up, and we'd be down there early in the morning. He'd be preparing for his meeting, and he'd try to prepare me for what I was going to face this coming year. And I was trying to tell him, I'll support you, but I don't want to be worried with, you know, all this stuff that you're doing. I'll support you guys and do that. But when he passed away, he had everything figured out to a T, just like Jim Hess does. He had it all figured out, and I was the only one that knew what he was thinking. He was worried about losing our land grant vision, OSU losing the land grant vision, our agronomy program going down, our vet school going down. We had built a new ag hall that was tremendous and great thing. We built this new vet school. We're going to be close to being the #1 land grant school in the nation. We probably need to hone a little on our agronomy and things and get a little money for that this year. But, you know, pardon me for putting that in, boys, but it's OSU has sat back and let other monies go elsewhere for many, many years, and we've gone backwards, and it's time to make up the difference, and I expect that we will. I'm hoping we will. Oklahoma State Regents for Higher Education also, they did a great job of helping me. They all chimed in and said they'd help before I became chairman. Whatever I needed, they'd help do, and they did. And then since then, they've selected Sean Burrage as their chairman, as their executive director. Sure, I just am overjoyed when we hire an Oklahoman that has an Oklahoma family history and put them in these positions because they're interested in Oklahoma. And Sean, it's so good to have you there. He and his father's an institution and one of the best attorneys in the state or nation. Tremendous people. Sure glad to have them in that position. We sure thank you. I want to also thank Steve Thompson and Carly Bell. They stayed on point and worked hard for us all the way through. Appreciate it. Appreciate you guys a lot. You know, I kept this little thing on my dresser in my bedroom, where every morning I got up and every night and I went to bed, I saw it. You can see it from the Daily Oklahoman. It says, OSU's once prestigious vet school is at a crossroads. Can it repair its reputation? You know, it can't and it couldn't, but with you guys' help and all you guys' help, we're going to do it. And Jim Hess is going to build the #1 vet school in the nation. Thank you.
Well, you know, speaking order is always tricky, so having to follow President Hess and Regent Harrel is probably not what I would have chosen to do, but certainly very glad to be here this morning with you all. President Hess, thank you for the opportunity to make some comments. I think the first thing that I would like to say is, and something certainly some of my team from the Department of Ag has heard me say this, and it's that you can pretend to care, but you cannot pretend to show up. That's in our personal lives, in our professional capacities, and I really want to start with that because as I look around the room, I don't know everyone, but I know a lot of you, and I think in regards to getting additional funding for the College of Veterinary Medicine, there were a lot of people who cared, but there were a lot of people who showed up time and time again. And as we know, time is our most valuable resource, and that's from veterinarians who I can assure you have some really challenging schedules to give their time to visit with us as regents, to show up at the state capitol, to President Hess, who I first got to meet when the Vet Med Authority was actually created. I don't think there's a time that there was a phone call made to President Hess regarding this that he didn't make himself available, and that's incredibly valuable. To Chairman Harrel, he spent, I can't imagine how many hours specific to this, and I had the opportunity to be in a lot of those meetings as well. Our ag groups, I know a lot of them are represented here. We made encourage them to help us at lots of meetings and carry that story at the state capitol. But then certainly I do want to pivot to our legislators who are here today. I think we're very fortunate here in the state of Oklahoma. I know at times members can get criticism from you name it, right? The public likes to be pretty hard on our members of the legislature, but I hope that all of you all know that certainly the folks sitting here, but also other members of the legislature, were very passionate about this project as well, from setting up committee meetings to the chairman coming here on campus and touring. Chairman Caldwell, I will always remember after you had a chance to tour the vet school, and Chairman Caldwell and I had a chance to go on an international trip several years ago, and he said, "Have you seen what the vet school looks like here?" And I said, "Yes, Mr. Chairman, that's why we're visiting with you all." So certainly folks that have been very passionate about this project, but also, aside from being good legislators, supporting agriculture, I would consider all of these members good friends. So what an opportunity today to get to celebrate something like this with folks who you respect, care about professionally, but so many folks here in the room are also very good friends. So glad to be here today, and now I know Megan or someone is grinding their teeth because they're like, "Blayne, this is not on your script, so please get to the script." So I will do that. Truly can't overstate the importance of the College of Veterinary Medicine to the state's ag industry. For generations, OSU's veterinary graduates have served our farmers and ranchers, cared for our beloved animals, and advanced the field of animal health through cutting-edge research. This historic investment in a new veterinary teaching hospital isn't just a win for OSU, it's a win for our state's ag industry, for rural communities, and for every Oklahoman who depends on healthy animals and strong veterinary care. As someone who works alongside producers every day And as the daughter and sister of a graduate of the College of Veterinary Medicine, I know how critical this college is. I know this achievement didn't happen overnight. It took years of vision, hard work, and collaboration from so many of you in this room and many more across the state. Many people have reached out to express their gratitude for this investment, and we thought it was only fitting to let them say it in their own words. So we put together a short video capturing just a few of those voices, including one that's very special to me, my daughter Kennedy, who didn't know she was going to be on this video today. So let's look forward to hearing what they have to say. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, legislators, for investing in the College of Veterinary Medicine.
Thank you, legislators, for investing in OSU.
To the Oklahoma legislature, thank you for investing in the future of veterinary education in Oklahoma.
We are here to thank those legislators for the investments in the College of Veterinary Medicine.
I would like to thank the Oklahoma legislature for investing in veterinary medicine. I hope to one day pursue my degree at the Oklahoma State University College of Veterinary Medicine.
Thank you, legislators, for investing in the future of OSU. This is going to be so important for the future of our students.
Thank you, legislators, for investing in the future of veterinary medicine in Oklahoma.
This is indeed program-changing, life-changing, and will dramatically facilitate our efforts in training the next generations of veterinarians for Oklahoma. Dreams do come true.
Thank you, legislators, for investing in the future of veterinary medicine in Oklahoma.
I would like to thank the Oklahoma State Legislation for the appropriation of $215 million. The new facility is not only crucial for maintaining the school's accreditation, but will also enhance the education of its students, support public health, improve Oklahoma's agricultural economy, and ensure a strong veterinary workforce for generations to come. Thank you for the investment in a profession that I so love.
I wanted to become a veterinarian to help those in my community.
Thank you, legislators, for your investment in my future.
Thank you, legislators, for investing in the future of veterinary medicine. Go Pokes!
Our next two speakers have been absolutely instrumental in positioning veterinary medicine and Oklahoma State University for a bold and exciting future. Their commitment to education, agriculture, and the people of Oklahoma reflects the values they learned right here in Stillwater. As champions of this historic investment in our veterinary program, they represent the Cowboy family with purpose and pride at the Capitol. Please join me in welcoming Speaker of the Oklahoma House of Representatives, Kyle Hilbert, who will be followed by Senator Chuck Hall, Chair of the Senate Appropriations Committee.
Wow, really great to be here today. And but first off, just after that video, there was a lot of thanks to the legislature, and obviously we appreciate that as legislators. But if you're faculty, staff, or a student at the veterinary hospital or the school, would you please stand up or wave your arm in the air? So thank you. You can be seated. So. I say this all the time, and I know it's an oversimplification, and so some of my colleagues have heard me say this a lot. What we do at the Capitol, we put words on a piece of paper. And obviously that matters because those words on a piece of paper become the laws of the land of the state of Oklahoma. But at the end of the day, if there aren't people to take those words and do something with them, that's all they are words on a piece of paper. So those of you that stood up, that's who we should all be thanking, because that's why this is happening. As legislators, we're honored to play a role in that, but it's because of you all that we're here today. And so, President Hess, regents, faculty, staff, it's an honor to be here. And Dr. Hess, I got to say, you, Regent Harrel, asking you to shave a few dollars, he bought into that, because I can speak on behalf of all legislators. We asked Regent Harrel many times to shave a few dollars, and he never would. Regent Harrel, how much money do you really need? And he never wavered ever. So appreciate that and his tenacity, and it really wouldn't happen without you, Regent Harrel. So thank you for all of that. And also, I know myself and the chairman, Chairman Hall are speaking today, of course, our appropriations chair and vice chair in the House, but our chair of post-secondary education, Tony Hassenbeck, she took this role on in her new role as chair and hosted countless meetings. I don't know how many legislators you brought up here to Stillwater, but a lot, and hosted meetings at the Capitol. I remember talking to Secretary Arthur, do we really want to have public hearings? And the discussion was, we do. The public needs to know the challenges that we're facing so that we can tell the story of the need for this. So thank you, Representative Hassenbeck, for your leadership as well for making this happen. Speaking of Representative Hassenbeck, when I was talking to her earlier today, I'm off script like everyone else has been, but she mentioned to me, she said, you know, we did this big investment in this great hospital, but we also need funding moving forward. So I did catch Blair Atkinson earlier. If anyone wants to write a check for $1 million, you can get a endowed chair, and she's standing right over here, sitting right over here. She will take your check this morning and be happy to continue funding, so we have funding long into the future as well. Oftentimes at the Capitol we talk about access to care, and oftentimes we're talking about it from a human perspective of access to health care, but it is arguably just as essential for society to have access to care for animals. I was talking to Chairman Caldwell. He was telling me about how they had the largest rodeo in the state last week in Lawton, Oklahoma, and what that means to his constituents. That rodeo doesn't happen in Lawton without great veterinarians to help make sure it can happen. Zooming in to the micro level of our house. So I have two girls, 6-year-old and a soon-to-be 3-year-old girls, but helping my wife and I raise them has been our dog, our golden retriever, Winston Church Hilbert. Yes. I felt really good about that until later I looked at the papers and found out his birthday was the 4th of July, and I messed up and named a dog born on the 4th of July after a British guy. But point is, without a good veterinarians taking care of our family dog who's helped us raise our girls, you know, that matters to people. It matters to families. And vets are not just essential to communities, but they're also known for ingenuity and thinking outside the box when it comes to figuring out how to solve problems. Because unlike humans who can tell you what's wrong with them, animals can't. You got to figure it out. And sometimes that ingenuity also means figuring out how to make a living in sometimes challenging environments. I think of one veterinarian who shared with me one of his tactics was if there was an emergency procedure in the middle of the night on the family pet, you could take guns as collateral because the wife really wants to make sure that the pet is taken care of, and then the husband is going to do everything he can to get his guns back and make sure to pay that bill. So something to consider for the veterinarians in the room. So I appreciate President Hess was talking about land grant institutions. Some of my comments this morning, I want to talk about that as well. And we often talk about land grant institution, the fact that it was signed in 1862 by Abraham Lincoln himself in the middle of the Civil War. And President Lincoln gets a lot of credit for this, as he should. His predecessor as president vetoed a previous land grant act. But who we don't talk as much about is Congressman and later Senator Justin Smith Morrill himself. And so I looked up comments that Congressman at the time, Morrill, that made on legislation that passed and created what was the Morrill Act and became the land grant institutions, which was a land grant from the federal government to states to grant for institutions such as what was Oklahoma A&M, became Oklahoma State University for focus on research, extension, and academics. So this is, in his own words, how many years ago would that be? 163 years ago. Congressman Morrill. This bill proposes to establish at least one college in every state upon a sure and perpetual foundation, accessible to all, but especially to the sons of toil, where all of needful science for the practical avocations of life shall be taught, where neither the higher graces of classical studies nor the military drill our country now so greatly appreciates will be entirely ignored, and where agriculture, the foundation of all present and future prosperity, may look for troops of earnest friends, studying its familiar and recondite economies, and at last elevating it to that higher level where it may fearlessly invoke comparison with the most advanced standards of the world. Justin Smith Morrill in 1862. So my fellow Cowboys, I can think of no greater tribute than this one we do today in honor of 163 years ago when the U.S. Congress passed the Morrill Act in the spirit of Congressman Morrill. President Lincoln himself, we're carrying on President Lincoln's legacy today as we fearlessly promote agriculture to the most advanced standards of the world with a world-class veterinary hospital right here in Stillwater, Oklahoma. What a great day. Go Pokes.
Good morning. It's great to be here. And once again, when you follow Kyle Hilbert, I'm just here as eye candy. That's all I know to tell you. It really, truly is hard to follow my friend, Speaker Hilbert. The Oklahoma House of Representatives truly elected a passionate and effective leader, and without a doubt, he's going to leave a positive impact on the state of Oklahoma for years to come. So congratulations to you, Speaker Hilbert, and to your fellow representatives who saw just who you are as a person and a leader for this state. It's truly an honor for me to be with all of you for this very exciting day. To OSU faculty and staff, thank you. All of you for what you do for education and the brightest students and shaping their futures. Today we mark a historic moment, not just for Oklahoma State University, but for the state of Oklahoma. With the investments through the state appropriations and the philanthropic community, make no mistake about it, OSU is on track to reclaim its place as the premier veterinary school in the nation. I want you to know, as a recovering team roper, I've been a client of this hospital many times, and I know firsthand the value that it brings to those of us that are in the performance horse business. I also want you to know that my trail along this line started back in December. In Las Vegas. My wife and I never missed the National Finals Rodeo. Coincidentally, Chairman and Regent Harrel never misses a National Finals Rodeo. And so I was fortunate enough to have been a part of one of Chairman Harrel's famous dinners in Las Vegas. And so I thought that he was just inviting me to kind of get to know me and my family and spend a little quality time together. No, he wanted to corner me for 2 hours and talk about his vision for what we see here today. And so he did a truly effective job. My wife and I got back. It was 20 minutes after we landed that he called and invited me on the tour of the current facility that we have today, along with my counterpart in the House, Chairman Caldwell. So Chairman Caldwell, Jimmy, this is why this is important for you to know. Not only did the tour seem and turn out ultimately very successful for Oklahoma State and for your vision and for Dr. Hess, but after, and I don't even know if you know this, but after the tour, Chairman Caldwell and I, both first-year, full-year chairs of appropriations, both in the House and the Senate, went over to no other place but Eskimo Joe's. We shared a bowl of cheese fries and several beers, and from that, we came to the agreement on our rules of engagement between each other through the Oklahoma legislature. So in the past, the chairs historically have not always gotten along, but Jimmy, due to your invitation and our time at Eskimo Joe's, Trey and I have become extremely good friends. We worked well together, and those rules of engagement are in place today. We didn't want it to end, and so where else can you end in Stillwater, Oklahoma, but the Tumbleweed for a concert? And so Trey and I went to the Tumbleweed for a concert, had a tremendous time. Dr. Hess, couldn't be more happy for you, and this couldn't have happened without you. The moons truly aligned for the timing of this request with your background and knowledge of the most integral workings of the veterinary program and your ascension to the presidency. It was your voice that best resonated with the Oklahoma legislature. So well done, sir. We appreciate you. And of course, none of this couldn't have happened without my fellow members in the legislature, particularly those senators that voted for the LCF project, many of which are here today. And the one that presented it on the floor, Senator Darcy Yeck, appreciate your willingness to stand up and say this is important to the state of Oklahoma and to Oklahoma State University. As OSU moves into the planning and construction phase of this new facility, I want everybody to remember this vet school is more than just a new building. It's the beginning of the next era for Oklahoma, one where top-tier veterinary care, cutting-edge research, and unmatched instruction will serve our producers, our pet owners, and the public health needs for generations to come. This investment is a small price to pay to launch OSU to the forefront of veterinary medicine and to cement Oklahoma's roles as the agricultural leader in this nation. The future of vet med medicine is bright in Oklahoma, and this is just a start. Jamie, this is for you. Go Pokes.
Thank you, Chairman Hall, Speaker Hilbert, for those wonderful remarks. I have the pleasure now of introducing someone who has been my personal friend for almost 30 years now. We are lucky, Chairman Harrel, Regent Harrel had remarked about how lucky we were to have this person as the Chancellor for the system of higher education in Oklahoma. And I want to tell you a little bit about him because he's pretty humble. He's also one of the funniest guys I've ever been around. He's hysterical. And if you have the opportunity to listen to him talk, you're going to have a good laugh. But he's also a good friend. He's a friend of higher education. He's a friend for members of our legislature. He's a great advocate for higher education. He's been a state senator. He's a great lawyer. He's been a university president. And I'm honored to say that he's been my personal friend for the last 30 years. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the Chancellor of Higher Education, Sean Burrage.
Thank you, President Hess. And Jimmy, you were given 3 minutes. I was given 1. So I'll see how I can do here. And I will try not to take it. Congratulations. And President Hess, it has been 30 years of friendship for you and I on a personal level. And here we are. I never had an ambition to be Chancellor. You never had an ambition to be President of OSU. And we're just getting started. I look forward to it. Regent Harrel, I'm glad that you and I now, who've known each other for a long time, more than 30 years, can now have a conversation about anything other than vet medicine. And to the other regents, congratulations, you all. Lots of vision, lots of leadership right here. But most of all, congratulations to the students, faculty, and staff. The students, faculty, staff, current and future, you all are the secret sauce. We push paper, we have meetings, we develop policies. What you all matters the most. So congratulations to you all. And you can have all the vision you want to, you can have all the leadership you want to, but if you don't have resources, you don't have much of anything. I was recently at a meeting of the Chancellor-type people for the United States. I represent Oklahoma. Lots of talk amongst those people about, you know, about what's going on in their states and how they're battling the legislature. And I try to be humble. But when it came up my time to give an Oklahoma update, I said, well, we did have $250 million put on top of $79 million for a vet school in Oklahoma. So we can have leadership, we can have vision, but without this group right here, we're not here today. And it's not happening this way in every other state in the union. It's happening here in Oklahoma. And it's because of this group of people, in particular, these 3 right here. I know that we Chairman Hall, Chairman Caldwell, Speaker Hilbert, and your caucuses here. You're the real reason we're here, and we appreciate your leadership. Thank you. And you know, on behalf of somebody who's served in the legislature, it can be a thankless job. And I want you to know that we know this. You get more complaints than you do congratulations. When I left the legislature, I had a list of I think I had 3 letters I ever gotten the whole time I was there thanking me for a vote after the fact. Okay? Everybody's real heavy on the front end, not real heavy on the back end in this job. Thank you all for what you do. It's an honor to serve the state and to serve you all. Appreciate it.
Get ready, Pete. As we wrap up today, let me just say this to you. This is our moment. This is what it looks like when a university, a state, the entire industry, and our legislature come together to make bold moves for our future. This is a legacy in the making, and it all belongs to all of you and the people of this great state. You showed up, you stood up, and you spoke up, and we're so very grateful to you. And this is about OSU. OSU. Thank you for coming.